Hi, I'm Kristi. I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, and I'm going to guide you through some simple yoga poses that will help with strength, stability, and mobility. All very useful components in your body for daily living and all very important factors for your health. So you don't need a yoga mat, but it does help increase stability due to its grippiness, if that's such a word. Whether or not you've got a mat, you're welcome to take off socks if they make you slip, or just wear clean rubber grip shoes. So now that we are all in our own homes, also creating a little bit of space, a typical yoga mat is about 6 feet long, with that 2 feet of space wide, and dogs, cats, children might come into play. Lots of times I find that children like to try a little bit of yoga. Dogs and cats like to steal a yoga mat space and lay down on it. I'm going to try not to make that happen today, or have that happen today, but just FYI, you might see a 4-legged friend. I'm going to come back to the yoga mat. The space here, I always start seated. I am more comfortable sitting on my knees. That might not work for some folks, so an easy pose might feel better for me, and that might not even feel good. So my other favorite is this guy. Bend knees, feet flat, but getting the rounding out. So if you have a low back rounding, upper back rounding, computer pose, then you want to pull in and just find neutral alignment in the spine. And just for a moment, you're going to acclimate yourself to the space. So what does that mean? Acclimating yourself to the space means that you bring yourself into this present moment right here on this mat, in your room, closing off the eyes or just lowering the gaze, and paying attention to the parts of the body that are in contact with the mat or the rug, whatever you're seated on. You could also be in a chair. A lot of our exercises today can be done standing or in a chair. So just checking in the major muscle groups, the joints, the left and the right sides of the body, the front and the back. Just noticing, sort of like checking off a checklist. There's the knees, quads, there's my spine, my chest, my neck. Noticing any points of tension, pain in the body, and a note on that. There is, when you practice yoga, when you exercise, doing any kind of strength training, you'll want to pay attention to the difference between tension, which is allowing you to kind of get into a strength and stretching type of movement, but allows you to kind of deepen that and maybe have a sense of ease with the muscle. Like it might tighten up at first and then it might end up relaxing if you're trying to stretch it. And pain, which tells you to come out of the pose. So pain, you know your body best with that. So if I cue something and your body's like, nope, not going to work for me, then we can try something different in the next video. So just kind of hope for some feedback once you hear this one. So wherever you're seated, chair or easy pose around the knees. We're going to bring the hands to heart center. In yoga, we call this the Namaste prayer position. We're going to inhale, lift up the arms. Maybe even look up, and then exhale, arms out wide, back to heart center. We'll raise the arms up, extend, lift, breathe in on the external rotation of the shoulders as you come down and back to heart center. One more breathing and lifting up, extending, palms up as you externally rotate the shoulders and come back to heart center. Pause here. Take one breath in nice and deep. Exhale through the nose or mouth. And then next breath in, we're going to go opposite direction. Gather everything up in a wide arc. Hands meet together with the palms and draw down the midline. This is the midline, middle part of the body. Back to heart center 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more. Breathing in. And exhaling. You're going to keep the palms together. You're going to squeeze the fingertips against each other. The thumbs, the palms. Find that pressure. See if you can have the wrists in line with the elbows. And then we're going to mimic the movement that the ribs make when we breathe in. They expand. And when we breathe out, they contract. So we're going to breathe in, keep the fingertips and the thumbs together to separate the palms. Exhale, squeeze. So keeping that tension as you breathe in against the fingertips. One palms away, breathe in, exhale, squeeze. One more. And then keep the palms together, start to guide the arms up. Sort of like walk like Egyptian pose. The elbows are bent here. We're gonna do a little brain yoga. So we're going to bring the right hand forward and then meet the backs of the palms. Then try to keep the shoulders squared, nice and neutral, not coming up towards the ears, so kind of guide them a little bit down and shoulder blades back and towards each other. And with pressing the backs of the palms together, see if you can straighten the arms some, and you'll probably feel it in the arm and a little bit on the back. Triceps, deltoids, if you know those muscles, doesn't matter if you do or don't. Know where you feel it. We're going to bring the left hand forward and then same squeezing. And then we're going to bring the palms away from each other and bring the left hand down and side bend to the left. And see if you can align the shoulder over the elbow over the wrist, and see if you can bring the body away, push the body away from the bottom arm. Arcing this top hand with the palm facing towards the floor. We're going to like gentle neck movements, so some neck stretching here too. Looking up towards the ceiling, neutral center, down to the bottom. Neutral center, inhale up, both arms. And go to the other side. Right arm down, we're gonna push the body away. Find that side bend, do that gentle neck movement again, looking up, looking neutral, looking down, neutral. Inhale, back up. And then one more time each side. So you can find that whole neck movement again, or a favorite neck position, whichever one felt good for you. Breath in, lift up. Breath out. Next, inhale, lift both arms up. Then we're going to exhale the arms down and then interlace around behind the back. So we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. You can keep a bend in the arms or straighten the arms. I like to just bend them a little and bring my fist to the low back. I'm going to start to gaze up. And I'm just showing the difference here between gazing up and like snapping the neck back. In order to protect the neck, I want to keep a neutral place, not have the chin higher than the forehead. I just want to keep everything neutral and not put any strain on the neck. I'm going to come back to neutral and we're going to do some more brain yoga. Switch so the other forefinger is on top. We call it an awkward interlace. So that feels weird when you do it. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, push the head back like there's an imaginary wall behind you, and then just start to gaze up. Breathe in and out, a couple breaths. And then we're going to come out of that neutral position to bring the hands onto thighs. Do some shoulder circles. Just gonna round them up towards the ears, back and towards each other. And then switch directions. about 3 times. One of my other favorite ways to kind of work this internal external rotation of the shoulders is to breathe in, palms up, then you're guiding the shoulder blades back and towards each other, and then kind of turning the palms so the pinkies are up and the palms are facing behind you. And then breathe out, you can drop the hands to the quads, breathe in, extend, exhale, relax. One breath in, extending the arms, and exhale. Then we're going to switch to like a side saddle position. So you're going to bring yourself to the right side hip and find equal sits bones. So here I was on the hip and now I've dropped down so I can feel both the left and the right sides of the glutes. And I'm going to bend the left knee, foot flat. Again, find that neutral alignment in the spine. So if this feels good for you, you might want to see if you can walk in that right knee right in front of the right hip. And if you can still have equal sit bones as you bring the foot over the knee and hug in here. This makes it a little more intense here in this stretch in the outer thigh and hamstring. So either way, I'm going to stick to this side. We're going to bring the right arm out and hug the outside of it. And we're going to externally rotate that right shoulder. You can bring the fingertips back. So we're starting a gentle twist here as you breathe in, find the lengthening of the spine. As you exhale, you can start to look over, maybe back behind you. And you can make this as active as you want. You can relax it out of it some, or you can hug in, squeeze in. And we'll come back to center and switch sides. See if you can bring the left knee so that it's right in line in front of the left hip. Hug in. Maybe test out this side. Each side's always a little bit different. This side seems to be behaving better today. So I'm going to wrap the left arm around. Externally rotate the right shoulder back behind you. Breathing in, imagine I get a lengthening of the spine. As you exhale, maybe a micromillimeter twist a little bit more. Feeling that stretch all along here. Your glutes are sore. You have some IT main issues, you might feel that. Come back to center. And we're just going to bring the legs straight. So I like to do a simple L-shaped position. So while we're here, I'm going to work on just the feet, which I think you can see. So I'm flexing right here. And now I'm pointing. And then there's a pointing, which is just flexing the toes. So keeping the foot pointed, but then popping the toes up. So you're going to flex, engaging the quads, so the kneecaps are lifted. Point, point, and flex. Point, point. So maybe some circles with the ankles, and then switching directions with those circles. Our feet, we have to take very good care of our feet as we age, and as any kind of person who walks around a lot, most humans, right? Running, climbing, yoga. We should never ignore our feet. They do such good work for us. So taking good care of them. We're going to find a little bit of a forward fold now. So you can bend the knees a little bit. And then with a neutral alignment in the spine, we're going to hold on to the hamstrings and just pull forward. So not down and rounding. We're going to just pull forward so you can still feel this in the legs and not the back. So from here, if you can straighten the legs, you're going to push the legs into the floor beneath you, and forward. Still trying to keep a little bit more of that neutral spine. Some folks can come all the way down, but you just want to try to keep the intention of that stretch. You might feel it all the way along the calf, all the way up the hamstring. Even with bent knees for really tight hamstrings, you might want to keep one bent as you push one leg straight and down and switch. Okay, so I'm going to come out of our seated position and onto tabletop. Hands and knees. So the wrists are going to be right under the shoulders. If you have any difficulty with the wrists having too much weight on them, you can have them ahead of the shoulders some. Or you can try thumbs parallel to each other to get some of that weight off of the wrists, or even fists work. So I'm going to come over here and grab a blanket from my sofa. If you have a yoga mat and the floor is a little hard underneath you, you can fold the yoga mat a little bit, wrinkle in there, or grab a blanket and have the knees nicely supported under there. And some cat-cow movement, as we call it. So on the inhale, we're just going to work on shoulder mobility first. So we're going to inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. It looks like the chest is coming closer to the mat. And as you exhale, round away and push away from the mat. Keep the weight into the feet too, pushing those into the floor. Breathe in, squeeze. Exhale, round. One more breath in. One more breath out. Keeping that rounded position in the shoulders, or maybe dropping out of it a little bit. We're going to work on just the lower half. So everything else should stay neutral. Back of the neck, you can keep looking down at the mat so the back of the neck is long. And shoulders stay static, neutral. We're going to inhale, drop the belly so the bum feels like it's in the air. It's an anterior pelvic tilt if you're interested. And as you exhale, you round a little in the low back, hips might come forward slightly. So it's just the lumbar region of the spine, a little bit of the middle part of that spine. Just trying to get the pelvic tilt movement. Good thing to do first thing in the morning when you wake up. And then a little bit of side to side movement. I call it the slow doggy tail wag. So I'm going to look over the right shoulder, pick up the right hip like you're forming the letter C with the spine, and try to keep equal weighting in the hands. Breath into the center, go to the other side. And one more time each side. And then while we're here, we're going to take a rest back into child's pose. So you can shift the hips back towards the heels. Take the weight off of the hands, maybe make circles with the wrists. And you can extend the arms all the way straight. If the forehead meets the mat, you can give yourself a little forehead massage left and right. Sometimes child's pose is not very accessible for some people, so you can find it even better with the hips lifted some, or come into a puppy pose, which has the hips directly over the knees. Walking the hands out, running out of space and into my dog's bed. But we're going to bring the palms down wide, like mat width wide, couple feet apart. Start to bring the chin and the chest down towards the mat. And it might be a little intense on the shoulders, so you can try to bring the forehead in the direction of the mat. It doesn't have to reach. And you can also just bring the elbows right underneath the shoulders to rest on the forearms. So this could be an easy rest position for you. Child's pose is a restful position, helps you get that focus back on a steady breath, which is an important component in yoga. And what I think is the hardest part of yoga is the breathing, trying to keep that steady breath. We inhale usually on the uplifting, expanding poses, and then we exhale on the folding or contracting. So coming right back up for the cat-cow movement. When you're on the palms, see if you can keep the weight more on the forefinger and thumb side of the wrist. Then we're going to invite full cat-cow movement. So on the inhale, cow, belly drops, squeeze shoulder blades together, look forward. exhale for cat, rounding the spine. Maybe looking back towards the knees. You can go for 3 movements there. Remembering to breathe in as you squeeze shoulder blades with the belly back. And breathe out as you round and push away. And then come back to neutral. So a very common pose is called downward facing dog, but it sometimes also isn't too accessible. So I'm going to adjust the camera so we can see that wall right there. And I'm going to show you how to do a downward facing dog from here first before we get down to the mat. Because even if you know and love downward facing dog, this at the wall is also really nice, good stretch. You feel a lot of it. And so if you're in a spot where you don't want to put your hands on the ground, you can put them on the wall instead. So I'm going to walk over to the wall. You'll have to figure out for yourself how far away you want to be, but you want to try to keep the hips almost directly over the center of gravity. So you're going to kind of go not right under, or feet not right under the hips, but a little bit back behind. And then the hands are going to go on the wall. And start to bring the chest and the head down, so you pause till the ears are in line with the arms. And then you want to try to find equal weighting in the feet and the hands. And as you push in with the hands, and as you lower the chest, as you push in with the feet, you'll feel stretch the backs of the calves. You'll feel that stretching in the shoulder area. And this is your downward facing dog at the wall. So walk back up. Downward facing dog on the mat. We're going to come into a tabletop position first. And I like to tuck the toes, cover the knees, start to shift the hips back till the ears come in line with the arms. You can keep the knees bent, but maybe walk the feet back now, because you start out from tabletop with the feet a little bit closer to the hands. But try to find equal weighting feet and hands. This is one version of the downward facing dog. You can bend one leg, straighten the other. See if you can get the heel to drop some. Feel that stretch along the back of the calf. You can rebend both. Weight in the hands, and then guide the hips up, guide both feet down so that you have straight legs, straight arms. And try to breathe. We're going to come forward, knees down, back into a tabletop, and then sit back onto the heels just to sit in a this is called like thunderbolt pose. You may have at home a block or a thick book or a couple books. You might have a foam roller or something that's a taller height. These things are helpful for your practice. I'm going to leave them towards the front of our mat, and we're going to come towards the front of the mat and find a mountain pose. So mountain pose is simply standing, and your feet can be together, they can be apart, however you normally stand. I like to tell folks, take a little walk around and then pause. That's how your normal stance is. You want to focus on that. We're going to do a little bit of a body scan to kind of get ourselves into this strong, stable foundation for stretching and finding that balance between left and right sides of the body. We're going to let the energy extend through the fingertips and focus on the feet. Shift the weight so you feel it more in the right, and shift the weight so you feel it more in the left. Shift the weight back so you feel it more in the heels. Shift the weight forward so you're gripping the toes. And then find that medium, stable foundation. And as you move up the body in a gentle body scan, you're going to engage the quads, the kneecaps are lifted. You're going to engage the glutes just a little bit. Engage the abdominal muscles, kind of tightening up some, protecting the low back. Squeeze the shoulder blades gently back and towards each other. And a gentle lift of the forehead. This is your strong, stable Tadasana in Sanskrit or mountain pose. We're going to inhale, arc the arms up and extend. And then we're going to bring the left arm down to the ribs, that are between the ribs and the belly. And we're going to push on that as we side bend. And as you're here, you can shift the weight a little more into the opposite foot. And then lift back up. Both arms extend. And then bring the right arm down. And then push into the body with that as you side bend to the right. And then maybe shift the weight into that opposite foot. And breathe in one more time each side. And then come back to Tadasana with the hands at heart center. Now we're going to work on a little bit of balance. We're going to shift the weight in the right foot and lift up the left heel. And then lifting up entirely. So at this point, if you're unsteady, the wall is a good friend. All you need is one finger. So you can bring the finger to the wall. Most of the time, a wall is stable for you. So we can shift the weight in the right foot. And from here, still be able to focus on this balance while keeping a hand or finger on the wall. So from here, we're going to hike it up as high as we can go, and then slowly push it out. Maybe to straight, maybe not straighten. Depends on how this feels for you. So it's like you're going to try to squeeze the legs towards each other, and you're pushing weight in that standing foot. Breathe in as you exhale. And then breathe out. So we're going to breathe out as we come in to the body. As we breathe in, we're going to extend. Okay, so we're going to bring that guy down and then go to the other side. So always shifting the weight first into the left foot, and then starting to bring, or the right foot, and then bringing up the left leg. Hike it up as high as you can go. You're using abdominal muscles to do it, and then you're stretching it out as straight as it can be. Might end up looking like this. It took me a long time to get to this. And bring it back down. Then we're going to come back to our our Tadasana pose. Back to mountain. So we're going to shift the weight into the right foot. And then bend at that standing lift. See if you can shift the shoulders, chest ahead of the hips, and then take a step back. Find equal weighting in the feet. And we're going to see about dropping the back heel. Foot kind of reaches out at an angle. If you feel wobbly, you can widen the distance. And if you're feeling any pinching in that back leg, you can shorten the distance. We're going to try to get to what's called Warrior One. Like to bring the hands on the hips, try to guide the hips forward. Like I said, equal weighting front and back foot. And then maybe extending the arms. You can engage the shoulders back and towards each other as you guide your gaze up. Feel it more in the back foot. So now you can maybe scooch the right toes forward and find a little more space between front and back leg. Breathe in. We're going to reach forward. Bring the palms down. And come back to a high push-up position. So we're going to skip a couple other poses because they're, I think, very challenging, even though you see them in the regular sun salutation flow, which we'll go over in the next video. We're gonna bend the knees, just come right back to that downward facing dog. Find a couple steady breaths. Bending the knees, we're gonna take a slow-mo walk to the front. And then inhale up to a halfway lift, flat back. So right now my hips are way behind my ankles. I wanna kind of guide them forward because I don't wanna hang on my hip joints. And then to work the Achilles tendon, which shortens as we age, so we wanna make sure that we keep that nice and strong. We're gonna bring the hands to the quads and then no chicken wings, bring the elbows in by the sides. See if you can lift up the heels and then lower down. Breathe in, lift. Exhale, lower. One more breath in. Exhale, lower. Bend the knees. The flat back, rise all the way up to span. And exhale, hands at heart center. And then we're just going to do that same warrior pose on the other side. So we're going to shift the weight into the left foot. Lift up the right leg. And then find that balance to take a step back. So if you can guide that whole foot down. I'm doing the same side again, so I'm going to switch. Guide the hips forward. I like to bring the hands on the hips, just kind of remind myself, so if I'm pointing out to the side more, I want to guide them here. See that equal weighting in the feet. And then extend the arms. You can engage the shoulder blades back and towards each other as you open up for a little back bend. Maybe scooch the toes forward so you find more space. Breathe in. Reach out as you start to exhale, planting the hands and stepping back to that high push-up position. Oh, maybe it's too tough. So you can bring the knees down and still keep the integrity in the spine, keeping that neutral spine. So in a plank, in a push-up, sometimes what happens is the belly starts to drop, so we want to engage abdominal muscles. This is still effective on the knees. Then we're going to shift back, find our downward facing dog. A couple breaths. Bending the knees, we're going to walk the feet up towards the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, bending the knees, dropping the hips real low, bring the hands to the quads. Just to speak for a moment on coming up from standing, once your head is below your heart, if you have blood pressure issues or you feel like dizziness when you rise suddenly, then this is a good way to kind of have that in between. And what I love about this position, the feet shoulder width, hip width apart, is we can do that cat-cow movement again. So elbows guide straight back towards each other. Inhale, the belly drops, shoulder blades back towards each other. Exhale, round. Two more, breathing in. Exhale, round. One more breath in. And exhale, round. I have a teacher friend who uses this to explain as slow motion twerking. So if you know it, it's actually far more challenging. As we extend the arms in this bent knee position, this is a chair pose. We're going to pause in that for a moment. You feel the quads fire. Inhale, extend to straight Tadasana. Exhale, hands at heart center. Might have increased your breathing some, so we're going to try to steady that out. See if you can equal the length of the inhale to the length of the exhale and vice versa. So if you're counting, you can breathe in for 2 or 3 seconds. Pause, exhale. 2 more. One more. So I'm not trying to put stress on the body so much. I'm just trying to invite some gentle stretching and really enjoying the practice as we move. So I'm going to bring the hands back to heart center, bend the knees a little bit, and then take a wide step to the right. Toes point out a little bit. You're going to engage the quads some. The glutes just gently are engaged naturally. 5 points down. And keeping the shoulders over the hips. See if you can bend the knees. It's like you're standing, but you're going into a squat. So make cactus arms and squat. extra challenge if you can push the weight in the feet and then lift the heels. And then exhale, lower. Come back to a 5-point star. And then do that 2 more times. As you squat, you're going to feel that in your hip flexors. Inhale back to straighten. Exhale, squat. Inhale back to straighten. And now we're going to work on a warrior 2 position. So pose is the left toes face perpendicular to the long edge of the mat. So facing your camera. And right toes face out straight. You're standing here. It's just this leg is out to the side. So all we're going to do is keep the hips square and then put a bend in that front knee. So as you're here, maybe it looks a little more like the knee is less bent and you're feeling a good stretch. Otherwise, see if you can widen the distance so you feel equal stretching and strengthening here. You've got the left glute muscles engaged lower abdominals. You can extend the arms out to a T and maybe look over the front fingers. As you're here, you're pushing both feet equally into the mat. And looking down, the front knee likes to track towards the big toe, so you can even place a hand there. Push it back gently towards the middle toe, so that knee is tracking over those toes. That helps protect your knee. Warrior 2 is a very power-inducing pose. You can flip the palms, engage shoulder blades back and towards each other, and reverse your warrior, dropping the back hand, keeping the front knee bent, and extending the front arm. You can look down at the back foot. It's my favorite neck position. Folks like to look up as well. Come back to warrior 2. Push the weight in the heel as you extend the leg straight. Now we're going to switch sides. Right toes face straight and left toes face out. So square hips and finding a bend in that front knee. Reminding yourself to keep the knee tracked over the middle toes. And arms extend out to a T. So if you kind of relax this whole leg, all the muscles here, you'll feel a difference when you activate them. So now, see if you can activate that glute muscle, your butt, engage the quads, that kneecaps lifted, and you'll feel, hopefully, like you can help find those square hips again. Breathing. And then you can drop that back arm and reverse your warrior, keeping the front knee bent. It likes to straighten, so see if you can challenge yourself to bend it. Come back here. You can flip the palms, external rotation. And then we're gonna push the weight in the heel to extend the leg and come back to that wide-legged stance. So we're gonna work on pelvic tilt movement here as well. So now the toes are gonna come in a little bit towards each other and the heels are gonna come out a little bit. And working on that pelvic tilt movement, the cat-cow movement in just the lumbar region. So we're gonna make a very exaggerated belly forward, butt out, and then exaggerated rounding, and the butt comes in a couple times. To find that middle ground, engaging the quads and kneecaps lift. See if you can keep the hands here on the hips, pushing the thumbs into the low back as you open up. Still keeping neutral neck alignment. Inhale up to neutral and then start to exhale and come to a parallel to the floor position. And here the hands can be on the quads or stay on the hips. And then if you want, see if you can bring the hands down to the mat, or maybe your foam roller or something stable, a couple books. Just finding that balance. And then we're going to shift the weight forward into the balls of the foot so the hips are not hanging way back. And you can find that kind of rocking position forward and back. You're gripping the toes. And how the heck you get out of it? We're going to bend the knees, walk the feet in a little bit, hands to the hips. Pause here, check in with the steadiness and maybe some cat-cow movement. And then rise all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands at heart center, bring the feet back in. And then just pause here, taking a couple deep breaths in and out. So, how do you feel? Check in with the body. Notice what parts of the body feel like they've got some good stretches and some good strengthening. How stable did everything feel? We did a few poses. Everything was mostly in a typical yoga sequence. Next video, we'll put together an actual sun salutation. So you'll know what that is if you're not familiar. But today we did cover quite a bit and just some good stuff for you to use in the morning, first thing when you wake up, when you're tired in the middle of the afternoon, that 2:30 feeling, you'd rather have a candy bar, maybe try some of this instead. And then have a candy bar, maybe half a candy bar. It's okay. As long as you are still keeping a general healthy diet, get a lot of water, and we'll see you next time.